So I made a best guide for every styles in Volleyball Legends. You may have wondering why you are so bad on playing, you kept missing, you can't aim, and your enemy keeps scoring against you. In this video, I'll be teaching you every secret style from oldest to latest. You will learn how to become pro in using each style, spikes properly, set properly, or even receive properly to the point your enemy can't even score against you. And also, I have an exciting clip for you by the end of this video. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Sanju. This is the stats of Sanu. Its main power are spiking and tilting. But how does tilting work, Chrisu? When you have maxing tilting ability, you can have more option on aiming rather than regular spiker. As you can see, there's a massive turn whenever you tilt left or right. Plus, tilting ability makes the spiking of Sanu much more easier since you are flexible than anyone else. Let's compare Sanu to different spiker styles. But here's a question, is there any differences based on your setter? Well, the answer for that is yes. The main differences are the timing and the curving of the ball. But here's a trick, as you can see, you don't have to rush your spiking with Sanu. You will always hit it no matter what. Your main goal is to settle a score rather than rushing the score. Let's have some comparison between Timeskip Kageyama and Taichou. For me, Kageyama is slightly better than Taichou, since it is a bit faster plus the ball stops mid-air. So, this is really crucial for any spiker, especially for Sanu. You have to think carefully before you spike. The goal of spiking is to settle a score, not how fast you spike the ball. The more the control you have, the better it is for you to get a score. But speaking of objective, it will always depend on what lineup you have. Now we know how to maximize Sanu. Let's talk about countering it. Countering Sanu is really tricky, especially when the setter and spiker are really good. To counter Sanu, you need to have a flexible receiver and blocker like Atasumi, Taichou, Timeskip, Hinata, Timeskip Kageyama, Kimiro, or Hirakumi. These styles are the crucial counter against Sanu in the lineup. Number 2. Timeskip Hinto. So here, this is the stats of Timeskip Hinata. As you can see here, he has a weird looking stats on his spike. This thing connects to his secret ability, which is the power meter. The secret ability can be done through spiking and serving. Let's get first to the practice mode because this is the best way to practice your Hinata. So now we are in the practice mode, so as you can see here above your ability, you can see the power meter. So if I move here, the power meter works, but when you stop, it also stops. And one more thing guys, each time you move to a different way, it resets. But as long as you keep moving to one direction, it will keep rising until you max it. So let's try out what it looks like having a max power spike. Whoa! It looks so scary, what the hell? But this will even more scarier if Taichou sets this. Alright, so some of you guys have heard that gliding is bad in my tips and tricks video. This is not the case if you are Timeskip Hinata because you need to keep gliding in this style. So gliding is really required for this style. And I have preferred a method for you to practice your glide spiking. First, you have to spawn the ball in the center like this or whatsoever you like. Once you have spawned that, immediately move and go to the angle that you want to spike. Your main goal in this practice is to get the power spike when you glide. Make sure you hit it, of course. It may be really hard at first, but if you manage to get 5 times in a row of power spiking, I am pretty sure you are already good enough for this style. Now you know how to power spike properly, let's talk about what are the deadly techs for Timeskip Hinata. The first deadly tech is emote tech. I learned this deadly tech from one of the best Timeskip Hinata pro player in Volleyball Legends. So how do you do this deadly tech? So first, make sure you have at least broom or skateboard. Then, turn off your shift lock so you can flick aim. The reason why I need you to turn off your shift lock is because flick aim is so important because this makes you unpredictable when you spike as a Hinata. So this is the example of emote tech. Now for the second deadliest tech of Timeskip Hinata. The second deadliest tech of Timeskip Hinata is the Taichou Hinata tech. You know, Taichou sets makes your spike even more powerful, but this even becomes more deadlier if you get a Taichou set as a Timeskip Hinata. This tech is really good if you do this in the back row because you have more choice or control to aim whenever you want, and it is really hard to read the spike if you are in the back row. This is the example of Taichou Hinata set. Ooh, this looks so scary to deal with. Number 3, Timeskip Kyamo. So, these are the stats of Timeskip Kageyama. This style has the most balanced stats I have ever seen among all of the styles. This style doesn't have any low stats at all. The most interesting part of this style is that he has the max serving power and rainbow set. But how does his secret ability works, Chrisu? Alright, as always, I want you to hop on the practice mode alongside with me. You know, Timeskip Kageyama is way different than the other styles like Timeskip Oigawa, Taichou, or Twins. His setting power is really good, so his default set should look like this. Do you see that? That is the setting mechanics of Timeskip Kageyama. What I noticed that most new players of this Timeskip Kageyama use this without any advanced mode. So, it has mentioned here on the secret ability that you can adjust the distance of your setting through the setting power. So, you gotta set what is the best for your spiker. You don't wanna set on the spot where there is a receiver on that side. So, with this setting power, you have so many options where you wanna set the for your spiker. So here's the first common but powerful tech that you always have to use, which is enable advanced mode. Enabling your advanced mode will enable your aim on how far can your set will stop. The higher the power is, the further it is. The lower the power, the shorter it is. It is super important, especially if you want to play with your tempo in your spiker. Although, adjusting your power to other setter styles than Kageyama isn't that good. So, let's see some comparison between the setters like Taichou, Oigawa, and Kageyama. As you can see here, Kageyama stood the most among all of the setters because this is the only setters that stop speed air than the others, although it doesn't give any power buff like Taichou, but is super good enough if you pair it with any spiker styles. So now, let's jump on to the best abilities you can use for Timeskip Kageyama. There are two best abilities you can use. Let's go first with the secret one, the Magnetic Pull. Magnetic Pull is really good for Timeskip Kageyama because you can make yourself more unpredictable against your enemies. You either bait your enemy to receive early, then spike, or drag it and bounce it back to your spiker like this. So, you should definitely get Magnetic Pull if you're looking for best ability for Timeskip Kageyama. Although, there is one more ability that is something you wouldn't expect. Still Block. How does the Still Block works with Timeskip Kageyama? Let me tell you why. Still Block does not only make you become blocker for a time being, but it also counters completely the shield breaker. If your enemy does have this and you try to set, receive, or block, you can cook them with Still Block. And there's one tech that I will be sharing to you secretly. Listen. So you know that Still Block is used to block, right? You can use this as your surprise attack against your enemy if they are not close to net. Since Still Block isn't that hard to fill up than Magnetic Pull, you can easily get your team a score rather than just setting it to your spiker. Number 4, the Twins. Mia Twins is very unique among all the styles. This style has two styles within the secret style. This is the stats of Osuma, which is a spiker and blocker. And this is for the Atasumi, which is the serving ace and back row setter. You can already see here that this style is a no joke. But when do you actually switch with Mia Twins? Well, we need to understand how they work. Let us start first with Atasumi. Atasumi will always be your starting point whenever the round starts. Why? because Atasumi have a max serving power with a floating skills. He is fast and you can serve deadly with this. Let's have some comparison between Atasumi, Kimiro, and Timeskip within their serving. As you can see here, both Atasumi and Oigawa has a deadly serve. But I believe Atasumi has more advantage than Timeskip Oigawa because you can confuse your enemy with your serving. Atasumi floating serve can be only triggered whenever you back tilt, so it doesn't matter whether you S plus A or S plus T. With these mechanics, you have choice whether you float or normal. Also, it doesn't matter if the ball goes forward or straight, as long as you tilt, it will get triggered. Listen, I have a trick for serving with Mia twins. If you see your enemy is way too forward, you can punish them by serving normally. But if they are way too backward, this is the time where you activate your deadly floating serve. With just serving, you are already winning the game. Also, do not rush your serving with Atasumi since the ball is way too slow than your speed. Just think about when you serve, you wait a bit, then you serve it. Now let's talk about Osuma, which will be your secondary style in the match. You will only activate this whenever you spike a ball or block the ball. The spiking of Osuma is really strong, especially if you can aim or flick. Blocking with Osuma is really good for 2v2 because if your enemy spike in front of you, you can just punish them with blocking because no one will ever back it up since they have limited player to catch it. Although the spiking is not as good as Sanu, but it is decent enough to settle a score. Here's another trick when it comes to switching. You can fake your set with this style, only do this whenever your enemy is marking your spiker, or maybe if the enemy got used that you are only setting, then you can show that you can become a spiker as well. Now we know how to maximize your switching. Now let's talk about how to counter Mia twins. Countering Osuma is really simple than Sanu, but countering Atasumi is really tricky. Osuma spiking is really straightforward, so the only thing you need to do is to watch where he does look when he jumps. It's really simple, right? Well, the only problem you will mind is how he will back tilt or front tilt. Now let's talk about Atasumi. Atasumi's serve is the one of the most trickiest serving that you need to practice. This one takes a lot of practice, but I will give you a trick for this one. As you can see, you must always position yourself and your teammate in the middle, but not so middle, so that whenever he serve a float, you are ready to receive it, and whenever he serve normally, you can just go back and receive it easily. Remember, dealing with Atasumi floating serve takes some time before you get used to it. Countering may be really tricky, but setting a lineup with Atasumi is really simple. You can put Mia twins anywhere, but I recommend you to put it to either number 1 or number 4. Number 5, Kisuki. So this is the stats of Kimiro. As you can see here, this is the only style that has the most maximum stats, except for the blocking and spiking. And with this special, Super Dive, this special is the game changer of Kimiro style. Most player in this game uses this Super Dive in a wrong way, so in the end, they just throw this style up with another style. And I want to show you that this style is one of the best style in Volleyball Legends. So I'm gonna teach you how to do this Super Dive properly. Super Dive can be triggered whenever you hold control in your keyboard, and you can aim this by pressing AWSD. And I recommend you to always use your shift lock for this style because the Super Dive is really tricky when you don't have shift lock. But Chrisu, I always fail to receive the ball whenever I use the Super Dive. Well, there's a simple method for that. It's called position diving. You don't have to actually hold your control since it is ineffective to receive the spikes with that dive. What I want you to do is to position yourself and just click your control towards the ball when receiving. Since you have the max speed and dive, you are actually the deadliest libero in the game. Here's the example of me using this method. Now you know how to super dive properly. Let's proceed to the deadliest tech of Kimiro style. Did you know that there's a deadliest tech of Kimiro? This tech is actually being used by one of the best Kimiro player in the world, and I'm gonna explain to you how to do it. Let's call this deadly tech as the surprise attack. This tech is not a boom boom jump or whatever magnetic it is, but this surprise attack is actually abusing your position as a Kimiro. As you can see here, by using your hold dash, when the enemy is locking you in this position, you can simply dash to the opposite side of your enemy and they cannot catch you up, and you dunk your spike instantly with this. To do this tech, you actually need a friend that can bait and set for you. Your bait will be your main spiker that will distract your enemy to the other side, while the setter will set oppositely to the main spiker of your time, and you will be the one doing it with the surprise attack to the enemy. It's actually so good, especially when you and your teammate can master this tech. This tech is really good against 3v3s and 4v4s, although it still works for 2v2, but it's gonna be tricky against the enemy. Number 6. Timeskip Okazu. Timeskip Okazu is probably one of the worst secret style among the 10. This style has the rainbow serving stats, so basically it allows you to have extra range on your power scaling right here. If you hit the rainbow stats, your serving could knock off your enemy if they receive it. But the downside of this style, all of his stats are just weak and his setting power is not as strong as Kageyama and Taichou. Your only card for this style is the rainbow serve, that's all. So basically it's only good against the high ping players. Number 7. Taichou. So this is the stats for the Taichou, but the main difference, Taichou has the ability to give a powerful spike to anyone. Taichou utilizes their spiker's power by giving them a spike pop when they set the ball towards their spiker. But Chris, what will happen to a Taichou set when it got touched by a non-Taichou player? The answer for that is, the bop will disappear. So I recommend you to spike the Taichou set whenever it got set. One more thing, let's have a comparison between a weak spiker to a strong spiker with a Taichou bop. Oh my freaking god. This is really nuts. Whenever Taichou sets, especially if you have Timeskip Hinata as your spiker, it is not humanly possible to react to that instantaneous spike of Timeskip Hinata. It is the most fastest spike I have ever seen. Number 8. Kazana. So this is the stats of Kazana. As you can see here, Kazana has a max jump, spike, and bump. It also have a massive speed and diving power than Sanu. Now let's talk about the jump boost. How does the jump boost work in this style? Kazana's jump boost works with the switching method, meaning you have a choice whether you want to charge or not. You can switch your charging by pressing R. So let's measure how far can he jump. This is the example of normal jump of Kazana, and this is the example of charge jump of Kazana. As you can see here, there's a massive difference in their jump, but it is already good enough to counter the receives of your enemy. Now let's talk about what are the Kazana's tech. Kazana has a lot of potential to do because of his jumping boost and speed. You can maintain your jumping boost whenever you have with super sprint. When you activate this, your jumping boost remains until you jump. With this method, you can bait your enemy towards the other side since you can run faster and have max jumping power than anyone else. Listen, there's also a tech that I will show you, but this only works for 3v3 above with Timeskip Kageyama. You can land your spike to the corner with the high set when you charge your jump here. Now we know how to maximize and do the Kazana stack. Let's proceed to the lineup of Kazana. The best lineup of Kazana in 2v2 are Timeskip Kageyama as your setter and Kazana as a spiker. For 3v3, Timeskip Kageyama, Sanju, and Kazana. Number 9. Mikage. This is the stats of Mikage. Mikage's style has the strongest blocking power next to Hirakumi. He also have a decent spiking power and a decent amount of power per serving, bump, and set. Although his speed is slightly slower, but it is reasonable enough to not make him overpowered. His secret ability is something that overpowers his blocking. Think about of having a steel block, but it is unlimited. But how does the Mikage stacking works? Well, the answer for that is very simple. His secret ability stacks off whenever you receive like setting, bump, or dive. So whenever you have a max stack of this ability, your secret blocking power will be activated. This is how it looks like without the super block. And this is how it looks like with the super block. But did you know that Mikage can also be a deadly spiker like Sanu? Mikage can also be a spiker than a blocker. He is like Mia in a nutshell, but slightly better. Now you have figured out how to block and spike with Mikage, let us proceed to the deadly techniques of Mikage. Mikage has tons of deadly techniques that you can do, and I will share to you how to do it. The first deadly technique of Mikage is side blocking. We know that most of the blockers just tilt down whenever they block. But did you know that when you do a side blocking or aim it to the way that anyone couldn't reach, this becomes deadly since the ball drops so fast than anyone. Let me show you how to do it. So you can practice this side blocking in the practice mode with your friend. Whenever you jump, position directly where he looks. Then aim sideways to block against the spiker while tilting down. With this, it is nearly impossible for anyone to react with this method. I know this tech is too much already, but can we get a 400,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button? And for the second deadliest technique of Mikage is mixing it with the steel block. But why do we still use the steel block ability if we are already the best blocker? The reason for you to use the steel block is that it completely counters the shield breaker. If you can counter shield breaker while having the best blocking ability, you will become unstoppable against pro player. Blocking and spiking alone isn't enough for you to win properly as a Mikage. You need someone to help you in 2v2s or 3v3s to dominate together and become pro. So, these are the best lineup for Mikage in ranked matches. For the 2v2s, Twins is the best duo for Mikage. Let me explain to you why. Since Mikage has one of the slowest style among all the secrets, Twins will be the one who will support you for this limited speed. Number 10, Jinko. So here's the stats of Jinko style. This is the only style that has the 3 rainbow stats on the spiking, serving, and curbing. And we can already see here that Jinko is much better than Sanu itself. His secret ability makes him so much better because you can apply this for both spiking and serving. Here's the comparison between Jinko and Sanu stats. Let me demonstrate to you why Jinko is definitely the best style in Volleyball Legends right now. But first, let's hop on the practice mode. So here, let's see how does the spiking with all tilts. Alright, so we can see here on the Sanu tilting is very linear than the Jinko. Jinko spike curves a lot in any direction you want. So as you can see here, Jinko will become much more unpredictable in the front row. So that means you should always place on the front row when you're playing as a Jinko. And let me tell you right now, this is so deadly. Like bro, if you have mastered this, you can win so easily with Jinko style. Like 100% easier. And here's the trick. How do you spike effectively as a Jinko? Whenever you spike, always S tilt. Don't worry about the ball being out because Jinko always curves and it doesn't go outside. So always trust the S tilt of Jinko. His mechanic is really weird among all of the spiker I made for a guide. Now let's talk about the serving. How does the curbing works on serving Chrisu? Remember, serving with Jinko isn't that hard than Mia Twins. You can activate your curbing whenever you want than the floating. Plus, you have the perfect speed and jump so you won't miss your serving in any timing unlike the Twins. Now, let's have some comparison between Mia Twins float serve and Jinko curve serve. You can literally play a mind game with Jinko. You can serve straight or curve whatever you want. And I don't know man, I'm really amazed how this style gonna break the game just like Mikage's style. Now for now, I want you to go to the practice mode again because this will be your perfect spot to practice this. So you can see here, spiking with Jinko can be normal or curbing. You can control it whenever you want, like you tilt to the other side where there is no enemy around it. Or just do a high spiking then get it to the back row. Though what I want to say to you, you can do better on curbing. There's one tech that you can do which is the low power spike. To do this, you must enable your advanced mode. You can enable the advanced mode on the team selection. Then, I want you to hold your setting keybind like this. This is where you will see your power scaling. I want you to do the lowest power or it can be green whenever you want. Then, spike like this. And now, let me teach you the techs of Jinko serving. Serving with Jinko is really simple and easier than Mia Twins like I said. But did you know you can control your curbing depending on your power? It is still the same as a low power spike, but you have to click then holding. Like I said, the higher the power, the longer it is. The lower the power, the closer it is to the net. You can mix this with A or D depending which side is the weakness of your enemy. Now, let's talk about what are the best abilities with Jinko. The best ability with Jinko is either redirectional jump or magnetic pull. These abilities will make your spiking more unpredictable if you know how to use these abilities. If you're a beginner, I recommend you to use magnetic pull since it is much easier than redirectional jump. But if you're really good like a pro, you should definitely use redirectional jump. Redirection jump can be used both spiking and serving than magnetic pull, which makes it as the best ability you can use for all kinds of spiking. And now for the latest one, number 11, Yogan. So this is the stats of the Yogan style. So as you can see here, it does have some awful stats on it. So basically his base stats are like this. The only max stats is the jump, which is kind of useless. Jumping doesn't even matter how high you are. What matters is if you have a good spiking power and a serving power as well. So you basically get a max stats whenever you activate the rage. But that doesn't even matter because I'm gonna tell you right now, even though you have the rage, it doesn't even feel like you have the max stats at all. So I'm gonna give you an example what is the difference between normal and with rage. This is for the spiking. This is for the blocking. This is for the setting. And lastly, this is for the serving. There's almost no difference between them and it's not OP at all. I would rather have a better base stats and give me a rainbow stats whenever I activate the rage because it takes like 4 to 6 charging when you activate the rage, and the fact that you can only charge this through receiving and scoring. So basically this style is useless if you don't know how to receive. So is there anything deadly tech for the Yunko? Honestly, it doesn't even have anything on it, but I can recommend you a best abilities you can use for Yunko. So the best ability you can use is either redirectional, magnetic, or steel block. Overall, what I can say for the Yunko style, it's so awful. Just pull that up, bro. Get a Sanu or anything better style than this one. Or unless if it gets Bob, maybe you can keep it. Yo, you have made here until the end. And congrats, you finally become a pro for each secret style in this game. I'm pretty sure you know now how to counter them or even play with them properly. If you guys are wondering why most of the secret style are not available, don't worry, this secret style will appear again sooner in the future. If you want to become much better for this style, feel free to check out the video above me. As I said earlier, I'll be giving away 2 secret slots on my random supporters. So just follow these 3 simple steps and let me know in the comment section below which style is the best for you. As always, a fellow samurai says, to God be the glory.